One way or the other, everyone under the sun belongs to a covenant, whether you know it or you don't know it. And mind you, the fact that you don't know the covenant to which you belong does not mean the absence of it. It is there, but you just don't know. Now, when Abraham entered into a covenant with God, he represented generations that were yet unborn. If you may recall that Abraham, when this covenant was made with God, he was barren, but he represented the children, the generations that were not yet born. And for your own information, the children that were born to Abraham were bound by the terms and conditions of the covenant that Abraham entered into when they were not yet born. They were bound by the terms and conditions. They had to live, they had to adhere to the terms and conditions of the covenant that God made with their forefather, even in their absence. Which means those generations, those children that proceeded from Abraham, they had no choice in choosing which God they want to worship, because that decision was made for them by their forefather, Abraham. They had to go along, they had to agree with the God that their father had chosen for them. Why? Because there was a covenant. Like I said before, covenant maintains continuity in a relationship. And the absence of the man that cut the covenant, his absence, or when he is not there, it does not mean the end of the relationship. Because there is a covenant, it means there is continuity. So the absence of Abraham does not mean the absence of the relationship. It continued with the children because they were represented by their forefather when the covenant was cut. Now, this is very important. Why is it important? It is important to know the God of your forefathers. The reason being, when you know which God your forefathers were worshiping, you will know also to whom are you covenanted to. Because even though you were not there, you were represented. Does it not shock you that when God made a covenant with Abraham, the focus of discussion, the subject of discussion was now removed from Abraham to the children that were not yet there? God started to talk about the children that Abraham was going to give birth to, generations that were going to come after him. And they were bound, their destiny was already decided by their forefather. So they had no option when it comes to worship, which God to worship, because their destiny was already dealt with. The God to worship was chosen for them. And what will become of them was already lined out. It was spelled out in the terms and conditions of the covenant that their forefather made with God Jehovah. It is important, brethren, to know which God your forefathers worshipped